Happy Friday to all you viewers out there in YouTube fantasy football land. Is it time? I think the time has come to bench a top 10 quarterback coming off a bye week who is completely healthy. But we'll get to that here in a few minutes. Tonight is Friday night. Time to look ahead at week 9, figure out who's playing and who's not, who you need to be out there picking up now before it's too late. And let's start with running backs. Jonathan Taylor has already been ruled out for the Indianapolis Colts. This looks like a Deion Jackson game. Frank Wright already came out and said it will be. We might see some splashes of Phillip Lindsay. Don't forget, Nyheim Hines was traded out to Buffalo. Zach Moss was brought to Indianapolis in return, but has had less than a week to learn the offense. So this has Deion Jackson written all over it. Don't forget, though, Tennessee has arguably the best defense against the run. So curb your expectations, but just through sheer volume alone, Deion Jackson should be a good play. Another running back who has been ruled out is Chuba Hubbard for the Carolina Panthers. Expect Deontay Foreman to have his normal huge workload. We saw him run for 3 touchdowns last week. It should be another big week for him. Some running backs who are not practicing or practicing on a very limited basis who are all highly questionable for this week. DeAndre Swift for the Detroit Lions is highly questionable. He is still battling his injuries. Even if he does play, he will probably see a limited work role. So make sure you have Williams dialed up. Damian Harris for the New England Patriots has been battling an illness this week and is questionable to play. He has not practiced this week. I'm not sure how much that actually matters. Ramondre Stevenson has taken ownership of that backfield. James Conner is practicing on a limited basis or not at all this week due to his continuing issues with his ribs. Fire up Eno Benjamin once again. Gus Edwards is still dealing with the hamstring strain that he sustained last week. If you have Kenyon Drake, this may be the week to fire him up. We'll get more to that here in a few minutes when we talk about the wide receivers, but don't forget, the number 1 wide receiver, Rashad Bateman, has been placed on the IR. Couple possible returns this week from the running back position. Cam Akers has returned to the Rams practices. It is not likely that he'll play this week. Even if he does, it will probably be in limited snaps, but he is back. Cordarrelle Patterson is also eligible to come off the IR. It'll be interesting to see if Atlanta activates him for this week's matchup or not. Moving over to the wide receiver list. Both Keenan Allen and Michael Williams have been ruled out for the Chargers, along with Donald Parham, one of the tight ends. This might be the week to bench Justin Herbert. I know he's coming off of a bye and should finally be coming healthy. But outside of Austin Eckler and possibly Palmer as the number 1 wide receiver and Everett as the number 1 tight end, his weapons are lacking this week. Michael Thomas is expected to miss the rest of the season with his toe injury. The good news for the Saints, Jarvis Landry has returned to practice on a limited basis this week. He has had 2 back-to-back practices where he's been able to participate. If he is able to play this week, it'll be a much-needed upgrade at the wide receiver position for the Saints. Cooper Kupp is expected to play this week, despite sustaining the ankle injury towards the end of last week's matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. Allen Lazard is considered a true game-time decision with his shoulder injury. The Packers desperately need him to return. We'll see if he's able to give it a go. Other wide receivers who have been ruled out this week are Marquise Goodwin, Jahan Dotson, Devontae Parker, Russell Gage, and Corey Davis. Moving over to the tight ends, Mark Andrews has not practiced this week due to the injury that he sustained in the game last week against Tampa Bay. If he cannot go, fire up Isaiah Likely with confidence, especially with Rashad Bateman's injury. Even if Mark Andrews does give it a go, Isaiah Likely may be in for a larger workload. If you can, go out and grab him. And don't forget about Devin Duvernay. Kenyon Drake may also see some additional work in the passing game. Donald Parham has been ruled out for the Chargers, as we already discussed. Gerald Everett and Joshua Palmer, should be the number 1 and number 2 targets outside of Austin Eckler for the Chargers this week. So if you have Gerald Everett, this is a good week to go ahead and fire him up. All right, couple real quick notes that I just can't help myself. Listening to Sirius XM radio, it sounds like the Green Bay Packers fans have finally turned on Aaron Rodgers. To me, that comes as no surprise. I have been incredibly hard on him all season this year, and I feel rightfully so. But it sounds like the same complaints that I've had about him, they are also commenting. Geno Smith threw what should have been a surefire touchdown to Tyler Lockett that Tyler Lockett dropped. Unlike Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith went up and actually consoled Tyler Lockett and went back to him, and he scored a touchdown later in that game. If that had been Aaron Rodgers, he'd have been throwing a fit and pouting and scowling and calling out his wide receivers. All right, folks, that's it for this episode. If you could go down in the comment section, let me know what other injuries we need to be watching. Let me know who you think people should go out and pick up. We have 6 teams on a bye this week, and we also have all these injuries that we're concerned about. Who do you think folks should be looking at? Go out and leave your comments down in the comment section down below. We have gone over 40 subscribers. If you could, make sure you subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Once we get to 50, we'll be able to actually do some live streams on here. So if you could, make sure you go down and hit that subscribe button. Thank you all very much, and until next time, see ya.